Hello and welcome. I am Gimba Umar. Tonight, Court of Appeal affirms Eyitayo Jegede as People's Democratic Party's legitimate candidate in Ondo State governorship polls, sacks Alimodu Sheriff's faction in the state. Senators criticize medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal policy. Lawmakers describe documents as fraudulent. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo asked federal government to extend the anti-corruption fight to the National Assembly. South Africa's President Jacob Zuma denies any wrongdoing after being implicated in the anti-corruption watchdog's probe.
On Business News tonight, Fitch Ratings reaffirms the Bank of Industry's standing, describing its outlook as stable.
And on sports news tonight, Ghana's Black Queens hold defending champions Nigeria to a draw at the African Women's Championship.
I'm Gloria Umezuke, and from Abuja, federal government concedes to Academic Staff Union of Universities the right to exclude government funds accruing to universities from single treasury account.
We begin tonight with the definitive ruling given by the appeal court declaring Mr. Eyitayo Jegede as the People's Democratic Party's candidate for the Ondo governorship elections holding on Saturday. In a lead judgment, the court said that it is settled in law that the party ought to be heard prior to a case brought against him, and since this was not done, the court resolves the case in favor of the respondent. On the issue of whether the court erred when it ordered INEC to publish the name of Mr. Jimoh Ibrahim, the court held that the order, which was made in favor of Jimoh Ibrahim, had no jurisdictional competence. Our correspondent, Amaka Okafo, reports.
Senator Ahmed Makarfi, in the company of other People's Democratic Party members and the governorship candidate of the party in Ondo State, Mr. Eyitayo Jegede, waiting patiently for the appeal court panel to deliver its judgment following the orders of the Apex Court that it should hear and conclude all appeals emanating from the Ondo State PDP governorship candidacy tussle. At the proceedings, the appeal court panel went straight into the business of the day. The court, which resolved all 7 issues canvassed by Mr. Eyitayo Jegede on why it should set aside the judgment of Justice Okonabang of the Federal High Court, Abuja, took a swipe at the lower court George. According to Justice Ibrahim Saulawa, who delivered the lead judgment, the trial judge erred in law when he distilled issues against Mr. Jegede and gave verdict on the said issues without giving him audience. According to Justice Saulawa, it is fundamental in law and doctrine that a party ought to be heard in a case that could affect him before verdict is reached. The court also held that the lower court judge erred when he asked the Independent National Electoral Commission to publish the name of Barrister Jimoh Ibrahim as a candidate of the PDP in the Ondo State election, while it was aware that the said Jimoh is not a party in the suit before it. He also ruled that the trial judge ignored the fact that it was forbidden by law for a court to decide on the candidate of a political party because it is settled law which organ of any political party is charged with the responsibility of conducting primaries and submitting the name of candidates in an election. Having determined all issues in favor of Mr. Jegede, Justice Saulawa pronounced that the consequential order made to the Independent National Electoral Commission to replace Mr. Eyitayo Jegede, who is the appellant, with the respondent, Barrister Jimoh Ibrahim, is set aside.
I want to say that this is a victory for justice, a victory for the rule of law, a victory to everything that is professional in terms of our legal practice.
It's a couple of days to the governorship polls in Ondo State. However, all roads still leads to the Supreme Court, where there is a pending application challenging the right of Mr. Jegede to file this suit, which has been upheld. But for now, Eyitayo Jegede has been cleared to participate in the governorship elections. Amaka Okafo, Channels Television News.
Meanwhile, the Independent National Electoral Commission has announced that Eyitayo Jegede is now the authentic candidate of the People's Democratic Party in the Ondo State governorship elections. In a statement this evening, the electoral umpire says that it has replaced Mr. Juma with Mr. Jegede in compliance with the appeal court's judgment. The commission appeals to the people of Ondo State to come out and exercise their franchise on Saturday in a peaceful manner, while asking the political parties and their candidates to play by the rules during the election. In another judgment, the appeal court has set aside the judgment of the High Court recognizing the Sheriff faction as the authentic executive for Ondo State People's Democratic Party. The court held that Justice Okonabang of a federal High Court erred in law when he decided a case against the person in anticipation of the 2019 general elections without allowing such persons the right to fair hearing. It held that the 1st to 9th respondents, who are of the Sheriff faction, approached the court as separate parties, even though they do not have any dispute against the appellant, Senator Ahmed Makarfi and Ben Obi. The 1st and 9th respondents, who are the state executive of the Sheriff faction of the PDP, were also ordered to pay a cost of 100,000 naira only. Well, Ondo State has become a haven of political activities as Election Day is about 2 days from now. The events that have shaped the race are happening so fast, with the list of candidates changing in a most dramatic manner. Our political correspondent Sheol Kimbaloye brings us some updates on the latest development.
It has been a busy day for politicians, voters, and the people of Ondo State ahead of the Saturday election. A lot of politicians are in court. Some of them are on the field campaigning. Some of them are also strategizing. But the latest now is the fact that the judgment coming out of the Court of Appeal is that INEC should replace the name of Mr. Jima Ibrahim as a candidate of the PDP with the name of Mr. Eyitayo Jegede. But that may not happen as fast as one may think, and this is the reason. The judgment has to be delivered to INEC by those, perhaps by Mr. Eyitayo Jegede, and one will also think that there might be an appeal, an injunction coming. Those are some of the anticipation about these legal tussle. But again, INEC will be another place where everybody will look at to find out what INEC decides in this very case. But what is happening today in the city of Akure is that jubilant supporters of Mr. Eyitayo Jegede are taken to the street, and these are some of their reactions to the judgment of the Court of Appeal.
To Akure, it is indigenous and everybody. It is a welcome development.
I'm very happy for him to enter. So I pray, let God help him to enter.
It is surely going to be a keenly contested race, considering the fact that Mr. Eyitayo Jegede coming into the race now has perhaps made it more interesting. Mr. Jima Ibrahim's name can only be removed on the list when INEC says so. But what has happened now in Akure, plus what is going to happen on Saturday, has brought about some intensity in the race. For example, Mr. Eyitayo Jegede will have only Thursday to campaign, as Friday no politician or no political parties can campaign. Well, interesting indeed. That's what the name of the race has turned into few days before the election. Channels Television is on the ground, and we are monitoring the situation from every senatorial district and from Akure, the capital of Ondo State. Sheol Kimbaloye reporting for Channels Television News.
In the meantime, the former candidate of the PDP in Ondo State has been reacting to today's judgment, recognizing Eyitayo Jegede as the PDP's candidate in Saturday's election. In a statement, Mr. Ibrahim says that he is optimistic that he will get justice, as the Supreme Court will sit on the same case tomorrow, and so has nothing to lose by today's judgment. He asks his supporters not to abuse anyone or fight over this one-day ruling, insisting that he will remain the PDP and he will remain in the PDP and work for the progress of the party. In an earlier telephone interview earlier today, he said that His name was not mentioned in the judgment, so he remains the legitimate candidate for the PDP.
I remain the candidate of PDP in Saturday's Ondo State election for governorship. Why? Because there is no consequential order directing INEC to remove my name. So, if you read a copy of the order, there is nothing specific that mentions my name that I should be removed from the list. So, if PDP wins the election on Saturday, I'm the governor. Because the Court of Appeal judgment is fake, it's nebulous, and it's ambiguous. If you have a copy of it, I can send it to you. You have one that there is no where my name is mentioned in the enrollment of go down. So you cannot infer. And if you infer, you are on your own, and the Supreme Court will knock it up. So I remain the candidate. I know the sheriff is not the one that sent my name to INEC. My name was sent to INEC by Bowie, and because Sheriff has dedicated his power to Bowie when there was no dispute in PDP, when Sheriff was undisputed chairman, INEC met, transferred their power in Southwest to Bowie in Ondo, and then that is how I emerged.
It's a controversial situation indeed. Let's take you straight to Akure, the Ondo State capital, where our political correspondent Shehu Okimbaloye has been covering. Quite a hectic day it has been for you trying to keep up with the changing scenario.
Thank you, Gimba. Interestingly, it's been a very, very interesting time in Ondo State, perhaps one of the most interesting elections the people of the state have seen in so many years. Well, welcome to Akure, the capital of Ondo State. And I'm being joined now on the news at 10 by a National Commissioner of INEC, Mr. Solomon Shoebi. Many thanks for coming on the news at 10.
Thank you very much.
Interesting times indeed for the commission, because I know also that the commission also is racing to meet up with some of these events and the time. But do tell us, is the commission going to postpone this election so as to give room for Mr. Eyitayo Jegede to campaign, knowing full well that he has only Thursday to do every thing that he needs to do in terms of campaign?
Well, thank you very much. Let me state categorically that the commission will not postpone this election. It's an event which has timelines, as we've said. And we did say day before yesterday that we've completed about 12 out of the items for elections. The only thing which we have to do now is the distribution of materials, which is tomorrow. The obvious end of campaign by Friday, and of course the election will come on Saturday. This election is not about candidates, about individual candidates. It's a party elections. It's party-based elections. We said it clearly that PDP is on the ballot. What in principle nothing has changed, only the scope has now been redefined.
All right, because a lot of people will also say that Mr. Jimoh Ibrahim has presented to INEC names of party agents and the structure that will aid his party to participate in the exercise. Will that also not affect the new candidate that is coming on board?
No, not at all. Just like I told you, only the scope has changed. We'll be very fair to all concerned. We will give them, out of our magnanimity, to present another set of agents. We have done that already. We have communicated to them that they can present name of candidates, in spite of the fact that they had 2 weeks to do this. According to our guidelines, it's not a constitutional issue. But then we are changing with changing scenarios. All the things that will make the elections come on Saturday are just things that we are interested in now. We have less than 72 hours to the elections. And you can see, we have said it so many times to Nigerians, once a date is set for elections, it's a chain. And you just discover that if you start altering some of these events, Without recourse to constitution, you would have breached some of the laws.
All right. Mr. Solomon Shoyabi, many thanks for coming on the News at 10.
Thank you very much.
We'll be speaking with the National Commissioner of INEC, Prince Solomon Shoyabi, and it's back to you now, Kimba, in Lagos.
Brilliant. Many thanks indeed, Shewo Kimba, political correspondent. In part 2, after the break, early morning blaze at Yaba College of Technology raises buildings accommodating female students. Please join us again.